Sabra Gossett is currently the registrar at Berman Museum, part of the Anniston Museum and Gardens, where she oversees a 10,000 piece collection spanning ancient Greece to the Gulf War, containing military items, art, weapons, and archival materials. She received her Master of Arts degree in Museum Studies from Southern University at New Orleans in 2016, and her Bachelor of Science degree in History from Troy University in 2014. Gossett was previously associated with the National World War II Museum and the USAF Enlisted Heritage Hall. I'd also like to briefly mention that Sabra is experiencing a little bit of weather right now. She's in Alabama, and I guess the sirens have been going off and her internet connection has been a little shaky. So we'd like to apologize in advance if there are some technical difficulties. And without further ado, Sabra, take it away.
All right, guys, I hope everyone can hear me. Like she said, my name is Sabra Gossett, and I am the registrar at the Berman Museum. I won't go into any more detail on that. She did enough for me. I'm sure many of you are like me in the sense that you wear multiple hats and your job title may not in fact be what your job is. So before we get started, I'd love to take a minute and hear from you. What museum are you from? What is your purpose there? Also, what collections management system are you using now or thinking about transferring to? While we wait, let me tell you a little bit about today's presentation. Welcome to Managing Collections Management Software, How to Choose the Right One. Any collections manager knows that the organization of your collection is almost entirely dependent on the usability of your collections management software, often abbreviated CMS. In this age, paper files are wonderful, but almost a hassle to deal with while researching for an exhibit or even something as simple as locating an artifact. I recommend once you acquire a software that you know you're going to keep for a while, that you store as much information as possible from your files and obviously make sure to back it up somehow. Okay, I see we have someone from the Toronto Railway Museum. That's pretty nifty. I do talk about Ehive a little bit. Yep, Museum Plus, that's awesome. I'm going to talk about that as well. Past perfect, my past perfect people. Yes. Love it. All right. Well, like she said, please feel free to ask any questions at any point. I will attempt to answer them. And if I can't, I'm human. I'll just research it and get back to you. I do have my email at the end of this presentation, so feel free to shoot me an email if you have a question about it. All right, let's get started. And like she said, please forgive any delays in the graphics or anything like that. I had to change all my lovely computer software at the last minute, so hopefully the weather doesn't bite us. Here we go. Come on, computer. There we go. All right, so maybe. First thing we need to address are the factors behind what will make a collections management software right for you. There are a number of things to consider. First, your type of institution and its size. Some collections management softwares focus heavily on certain types of collections, such as natural art or history. Natural history or art. Additionally, many of them have size limitations that may not work for larger collections without spending some money and purchasing some sort of expansion. Another thing to consider is the number of needed users. Depending on the size of your collection staff, you may need more than one user or computer to access the software at a time. If you're extremely small, you may get away with just one user, which is always the cheapest option. Unfortunately, the options usually go up by 5, meaning you can either have one user or up to 5 for a charge. At my museum, we use Past Perfect, and we opted for the 5-user option so that I could work at my computer while an intern or volunteer worked at a separate station. Your computer capabilities. First, you have to ask yourself, do you want your system to be local or web or cloud-based? What that means is, do you want physical files stored somewhere, i.e. your computer or server, or do you want to have the internet take care of it for you? Some options are solely web-based, which sounds great until the internet is down, if you're having a day like today, for me. For local systems, you have to make sure your computer system is up to snuff. The majority of local systems operate off of Windows 7 or higher and a Windows 2012 server or higher. If you have questions about your computer capabilities, I recommend asking IT. Those questions are way beyond my capabilities. Side note, you will hear the terms cloud-based and web-based used as two different terms. There is a difference between web and cloud-based. However, for our purposes, we're going to strictly consider them the same thing and just refer to them as web-based. Another thing to consider is the location and the reputation of the company. There are a million collection management softwares out there. Finding the right one can seem daunting, but keep a few things in mind. You certainly want a collections management software with a good reputation. Ask some of your similar museums, for example, military ask military, art ask art, what they use and if they're happy with it. Keep in mind, many collections management software companies offer more than one type of software as well. Also, I recommend you look into the location of the company for the software you're thinking of. There's a lot of great collections management software coming out of Europe, but just remember that the distance may affect things such as customer support and ease of communication. And finally, the big question. What are you willing and able to spend on your collections management software? The majority of museums are usually struggling financially and don't have loads of cash just sitting around. I recommend doing a little research on this one. Check with your governing body to see just how much may be available to you. Many companies have a standard fee and additional options available for a different cost. Know what you need your software to do and how much you can pay for it. You want to get the most bang for your buck. Don't forget, there are also many grant opportunities available, including through the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities and the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences. So in this program, I've selected a few of the more popular and easily accessible collections management softwares, and I've analyzed them. All of the collections management software on this PowerPoint are general databases, i.e., they're made for all types of collections. Also, don't let the money scare you. I've organized them from most expensive to least. And in the end, remember, essentially all of these softwares do the exact same thing. It's the add-ons, the support, and the features that make the difference. All right, so first up, we have Museum Plus, made by Zepcom out of Switzerland. I saw a couple of you guys in the chat had this one already. For us US users, there is a Denver office, which may help with any support issues. Museum Plus is a comprehensive, flexible, standard application that provides real-time museum management and fully documents any type of collection and related workflow. Museum Plus is web-based, so in other words, Zetcom holds your catalog for you. It is Mac and Windows compatible. You are required to contact them for prices, which to me is never a good sign of affordability, but Museum Plus must be worth the money because there's one really big name attached to it. It is the collections management software used at the Louvre. They also count over 900 prestigious museums as clients, including Coca-Cola and the city of New York. For more information on Museum Plus, you can visit zetcom.com/en for English /museum plus -en. Our next collections management software is Proficio by Rediscovery Software Inc. out of Virginia. Please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. This software was originally created for Jefferson's Monticello to manage the archaeological sites and artifacts. In 1997, it was selected by the National Park Service to manage their 300 sites across the country. It is also used by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. There are 3 modules to choose from: collections, library and archives, and archaeology, so users can utilize the system as best as possible. Proficio is available as a standalone software or a web-based program. For smaller institutions, Proficio Elements is suggested. You are required to contact the company for pricing, which could again lead to big bucks, but with the option to choose modules a la carte and the software that is available for smaller museums, it may just be worth the consult. For more information, you can visit that website at rediscoverysoftware.com/Proficio. Next, we have TMS Collections, a software designed by Gallery Systems of New York. Again, I saw some of you guys in the chat have this one as well. This system was developed in partnership with museum professionals and seamlessly integrates conservation documentation, online collections, and digital assets management. TMS Collections can be used to manage all collection types and includes subtext such as objects, bibliography, exhibition, loans, shipping, media, constituents, sites, events, and insurance. TMS is a web-based system licensed per user. The server requirement is Windows 2012R or 2016. Unfortunately, like Museum Plus and Proficio, you do have to contact them for prices. Gallery Systems does, however, provide data migration. Some of the big names associated with TMS are the Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology at Harvard and the California Parks and Rec. For more information on that one, you can visit gallerysystems.com/solutions/collections management. Next on our exploration of collections management software, we head to New Zealand for Vernon CMS, developed by Vernon Systems. They do have a UK office, but not a US office, which may, as we've mentioned before, impact response times on support. Vernon CMS is used to manage all common collection types, including social history, art, archaeology, archives, reference libraries, and natural science collections. Over 60% of their current clients manage multiple types of collections. Comes complete with over 400 fields, multimedia, searching, and reporting. Vernon CMS is a standalone desktop application. It requires Windows Server 2012, 2016, or 2019, and a Windows 8 or 10 on the desktop. The licensing is charged per workstation, but you can have as many individual logins as you wish, although none of them can be working at the same time. So being that the licensing is charged per workstation, you do have to contact the company for pricing. Again, as we've said, big bucks. Vernon Systems did give an example on their website, though, of 4 workstations charging $13,000 US for the first year, with a $1,000 licensing fee annually. If you're anything like my museum, that might be a little bit too rich for your blood. But there are 2 facts in favor of the software. First, its website has excellent usability. And second, there is a trial available of the software, so you can play with it before you buy. You do still have to contact Vernon Systems for that trial, but some of the users of Vernon CMS include the Cincinnati Art Museum and the Jamestown Yorktown Foundation. For more information, hit up that easy website at vernonsystems.com. Moving on, we have Axio Collections and EMU, made by Axio of Sweden. They also have a US office. Yay! Speaking of which, shout out to one of the Axio employees in the audience. It is a full-featured web-based collections management system selected by some of the most prestigious institutions in the world. Whether cataloging, managing acquisitions and loans, managing movements, storage or conservation, or organizing events, you can handle all these processes and more with ease. Axio can be used either as a web-based or local software. Workstation requirements are Windows 8 or higher, or a Mac operating system. The cost per year for one user is $1,400 plus, and for the web-based software, $3,100 plus. Excuse me, I read that wrong. The cost per year for one user is $1,400 plus for the web-based software, while it's $3,100 plus for the desktop application. Axio offers EMU, the system that has been, and I quote, the forefront of collections management for more than 3 decades. EMU is solely a desktop application, and you do have to call for pricing on that one. Axio has customers in over 55 countries, including the Field Museum and the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. All right, next is another one out of the UK, which is Museum Sites, and I believe it's pronounced Chi, from Keep Thinking. Museum Sites is an integrated website, collections management, and exhibition and events management system. It was created as a holistic approach to manage and publish museum information. The cool thing about this software is that not only is it a collections management software, but it is also a hosted website supported on all major browsers. You can choose solely to use it as a collections management software, but hey, who doesn't love free options? This software also allows for unlimited users, which I know we all love. Museum Sites is also innovative in that they offer month-to-month plans rather than an annual fee. There is a fixed annual service charge and initial fee, but the monthly payments are actually quite affordable. It's only $242 a month plus the $4,835 initial fee, or it's $484 a month with no additional fee. And then of course they have the add-ons at additional cost. The website hosting is included in the monthly fee, and to top that off, Museum Sites has a free 60-day trial. And on the subject of free, Museum Sites also has a free version, but it is limited to only 100 artifacts and 500 megabytes of storage. For more information, visit museumsites.com. On this next slide, I've featured two versions of the same software, modes, Compact and Complete. They're from another UK company, the Museum Documentation Association. Developed for collections professionals by collections professionals, say that one 5 times fast, this fully functional system features everything you need to control, manage, and secure your information. All Mode software is a desktop application with the ability to be a multi-user program over a network. Complete requires Windows Server 2008 or above and a Windows 10 operating system. It costs $1,830 plus $900 per user. Modes Compact is simply the entry-level version of Modes Complete. It is a single-user, non-network software. It costs only $900 and requires Windows 7. Something in favor of these software is the availability of the online training, ranging from $140 to $210, and they provide free support for the first year. For more information on modes, check out modes.org/UK. Back to the US, we have Collector System, which is made and supported by a small company based out of New York. They are a web-based software that is accessible from any internet-enabled computer, tablet, or smartphone. In its single-user format, it is $85 a month, another one of those lovely monthly fees, but the costs increase by the number of users and subscription types. That may sound cheap, but it can add up quickly to over $1,000 a year. They also charge $165 an hour for data conversion from another software, but all you need to use Collector Systems is a current web browser. The software has a slick look and nice features, including environmental monitoring. It's a smaller company, so honestly, there isn't really a ton of information available in the software, but I think that might be a pro in the column of customer support. For more information on that one, visit collectorsystems.com. All right, now we are on to my personal favorite, the software that I and many others are most familiar with, PastPerfect. Honestly, it would be easier to list what small to mid-sized museum does not use PastPerfect. Even if you don't use PastPerfect in your museum, it would not hurt to gain skill in it for your resume because just that many museums use it. Over 11,000 museums, historical societies, archives, libraries, and other collecting institutions worldwide have purchased PastPerfect museum software since its first release in 1998. Wow. As you can see, shameless plug here, PastPerfect is what we use at my museum, the Berman Museum, and will soon be used across all of Anniston Museum and Gardens. Past Perfect is made by Past Perfect Software Inc. out of Philadelphia, creative name. The software can be purchased either as a desktop application or a web-based software known as, again, a creative name, Web Edition. Past Perfect runs on Windows operating systems and servers, but it is possible to run Past Perfect on Mac computers with additional software. For the desktop application 5.0, Windows XP and Microsoft 07 or higher are required. The only system requirement for the Web Edition is a strong internet connection. The most up-to-date version of the software, 5.0, costs $850 for the desktop version. There is a charge for new users or a fee for upgrading from an older edition. One nice thing about Past Perfect, though, is the ability to choose options based on your needs, so you only pay for what you need. The Web Edition starts at $596 a year. On anything Past Perfect, however, there is a 20% discount for all AASLH, American Association for State and Local History members. And Past Perfect's website provides links to grant opportunities that they have worked with in the past. For more information, you can log on to museumsoftware.com. Next, we have Ehive, which I saw some of you guys are using as well, which is actually made by the same people as Vernon CMS, Vernon Systems out of New Zealand. Again, they have a UK office, but not a US office, so keep that in mind when you're looking for support. Ehive is an innovative web-based system used by hundreds of small museums and private collections to catalog objects, manage acquisition information, and share their collections online. All you need is working internet. They host and store the information for you. Its starter plan actually gives 50 megabytes of storage, 1,000 records, for no charge for one user. I know we all love that free word, and if you don't have a lot of records, this may be the software for you. The price goes up for more users and records and storage, but even at its top platinum level, it is only $1,200 a year for 100,000 records, which is insane. Like she said previously, my museum only has 10,000. I couldn't imagine having 100,000. I've included their nice price chart to illustrate just what you get for the money. Down here. For more information on Ehive, check out ehive.com. My last collections management software that I'm going to talk about is a new one to me, but from the ease of their website and the response time of the staff, I already like it better than most. Collection Space, also called CSpace, was developed by a collaborative and is funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. It's used to manage the day-to-day operation of a diverse group of museums and municipalities, universities, and historical societies, herbaria, and botanical gardens. In their words, they are more than a collections management software. They are a community. Collection Space is web-based, and users do not need to install any additional software on their computers. The best part, drumroll please, it's free. No joke. They are open sourced, meaning that the code is designed to be publicly accessible, so it can be downloaded at no cost. The cost only comes if you want a hosting provided by Lurasis, a 501c3 out of Atlanta. However, they offer pricing on a sliding scale based on your operating budget, so you can get a pretty good deal. There is also the option to self-host, and that keeps you in that free range. Two additional features of CSpace are the Sandbox, a full version demo available online, and a 30-day free trial. They have some cool customers, including the Ohio History Connection and the Birthplace of Country Music. A shout out to Linda Collette of Lurasis, who brought me up to speed on this software. If you guys have any questions regarding CSpace, she is your lady, and I can put you in touch with her if you are interested. For more information, check out collectionspace.org. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information and you may be feeling totally overwhelmed right now. That is totally understandable. Trust me, even with the facts, many collection staff can still feel bogged down by options. Honestly, I know money is usually the biggest motivator. So I've included this lovely chart to illustrate the affordability of all the software I just mentioned. The figures are for the basic expenditures, not including any add-ons or additional fees. Just remember this chart is an oversimplification and it doesn't tell you some of the really cool features you get with each. Notice those lovely 3 free software on the bottom of the chart. Remember that collection space is only free if you self-host. Also, Ehive free only allows for 1,000 records and 50 megabytes of data, while museum sites free only allows for 100 artifacts and 500 megabytes of data. While none of these free versions may be practical for your museum, they could be a way to familiarize yourself with the software before you buy. Also, I wanted to return to something I mentioned previously, grants. I know the thought of writing a grant can strike fear into some, but this is one of those opportunities that would be perfect for a grant application. Most people are familiar with the big two, IMLS and NEH. The Institute for Museum and Library Sciences, IMLS, offers numerous grants that could help with acquiring collections management software. Museums for America and Inspire both have a $5,000 minimum award. The National Endowment for the Humanities offers humanities collections and reference resources and preservation assistant grants for smaller museums. Many other grants are based on collection or organization types, like IMLS's museum grants for African American history and culture, and the Native American/Native Hawaiian Museum Services grant. The Henry Luce Foundation offers grants specific to American art, and the NHPRC offers grants specifically to archives. When researching grants, make sure to check within your state. Many state councils or boards offer state-specific grants to their museums. And finally, keep in mind that when you find a grant directed towards digitization, double check with their requirements, as they may not consider collections management software an acceptable project. And FYI, NEMPN is hosting a grant writing workshop tonight at 7 Central Time. So if you want some help with your grants, make sure to check it out. Well, that is all for me. I will pause for any additional questions you guys may have. If you think of any questions later, feel free to email me at sgossett@annistonal.gov, and I will help you as best as I can. For more information on the awesome Anniston Museum and Gardens and Berman Museum that I mentioned more than once, check us out at exploreamag.org. And finally, a big thank you to the National Emerging Museum Professionals Network for hosting this webinar. And thank you to you guys for watching it despite the rescheduled date and some of our weather havoc.
Yeah, no joke. Thank you, Sabra. We did have a couple of questions in the chat. I'll just start at the beginning. So was wondering if ATOM, ATOM will be discussed, or if you could, maybe offer some insight on that, because they use Past Perfect, but they're considering switching to ATOM. Are you familiar with that?
I am actually not. I mean, I can kind of, do exactly what they're doing, do some research into it and give them some ideas, but no, actually, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either. There's just so many out there. But yeah, I'm curious too, because I haven't heard of that one. If anybody else has had experience with it though, feel free to drop in the chat. And then a couple other questions. Lydia asked how to develop a skill in Past Perfect, because they're a student and an EMP from Toronto. So they were wondering whether there are any courses.
We actually mentioned that, you and I discussing it, that if you guys would like, we can offer a program at a later date in Past Perfect. Like I said, that's my favorite, so I would love to talk about it. Also, I do not believe that they offer any sort of free trial on their website. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure.
I know Tiffany dropped in the chat that Past Perfect's website might have some classes and workshops online, but that they weren't sure if you had to be a customer to be able to register. I'm also not sure. I think Past Perfect also has tutorials on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely do have that. You could always come work for me as a volunteer too. I'd love to let you free on my Past Perfect.
And we have some takers for your Past Perfect in-depth program or tutorial.
Oh, awesome.
So,
yes. Woohoo!
Okay, and then Christopher asks, aside from Past Perfect, do any of the others include nomenclature integration?
I'm pretty sure the majority of them did. Honestly, I would have to play with them for a little while to give you that information. But from what my research turned up, it looked like the majority of them kind of took that into consideration.
Okay. And then Sierra said that she thinks Embark and TMS do.
Okay, see, I'm not familiar with Embark either, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we use Embark, and it's like a smaller version of TMS. It's the same company. And they have the nomenclature as an additional download. It's not included.
Okay, they always get you with those.
It might be free though, but you have to be you have
a current user.
Yeah, and you have to pay for their support, and it's included in that, I think.
Gotcha.
All right.
Sierra, and then we have some more questions here. So Fanny asks, what would you recommend for private people in charge of a small collection? The heirs of an artist who do not necessarily have a big budget. She says, let's say 600 works.
So collection space would be great because it's totally free. And it has the unlimited users and all that fun stuff. Also, you could use Ehive. Their actual starter plan only goes, like, you can get it for free up to 1,000 records. So that is also an option as well. And you could pay a little more if you wanted another user.
And then do you have any thoughts, Marissa asks, on best systems for conservation records integration?
Ooh. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say no. I really don't. I'm so sorry to not be able to answer that one.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that either, unfortunately. I don't deal with a lot of conservation records myself.
I do know on Past Perfect, again, sorry to throw that one out there, but I do know on Past Perfect that they offer tabs that allow you to add in your documents of like when you did things and pictures and all that lovely stuff. So it does kind of give you that ability to document some conservation stuff, but past that, I'm not really sure.
Laura says that TMS has a conservation studio system.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura.
Does too. And then actually up above, someone said, Linda said that Collection Space does offer nomenclature integration for anybody who didn't see that.
Awesome. Thank you guys for helping me answer some questions.
And Sierra says, and Mimsy too, which we didn't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then Melissa asks, the web-based system, is there a risk of losing your data if the company goes under? That is
it is a great one. Some of the companies allow you to, like Collection Space allows you to self-host. So technically you keep the information. Other ones that keep your information for you, that is honestly a concern. That would be one of those, you need to research it and look at the past of the software and the company and just, see if they're good enough that you won't have to worry about that, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would be worried about that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sierra asks, what does self-host involve?
So I honestly don't know. That would be a great question for Linda Collette of Collection Space, because that's basically what they do. I do know that it's kind of one of those things where the information is, I believe, stored on a server and it's just accessed via the internet. So that's always a good option.
Yeah, so you'd have to kind of have the server space. Self-host means you need to have your IT set that.
Yep. And like I said, nothing IT here. So definitely that is something you need to talk to about with them.
Okay, thanks, Linda. And then Michelle said, if I remember correctly, Past Perfect has conservation applications within the archaeological collection, as well as within the condition reporting function.
Yeah, Past Perfect is fantastic. On their accession pages, they literally you can break it down through archaeological or natural history or art or artifact. So they got some great stuff.
Thanks, Michelle. And then Linda dropped her email there in the chat for anybody who wanted to know more about collection space. Thanks, Linda. And like Sabra said, this is a lot of information. So, we can provide you with these slides for anyone who's interested, who maybe wants to see kind of that comparison between all of the software that she talked about today. And then if you have any lingering questions, her email is right there too. Do we have any other questions? I'm going to drop my email in the chat actually, and the EMP Skillshare form in case anybody is interested in presenting for this series. Just go ahead and send me an email and I'd be happy to chat with you. But if there are no other questions, Sabra, did you have any kind of final thoughts or comments or?
No, ma'am. Just, like I said, there are a million of those out there. So I am sorry if I didn't cover the one you wanted to hear about. It's basically kind of you just have to pick what the majority looks at already. But I hope I answered some questions for people, and, feel free to email me and I'd love to answer any other questions you have.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Sabra.